media.
Yeah, just to both the coaches here, are you going to have to make much of a change to your game plan, considering you played all your finals at Vizzy and now you come to Etihad for the big one, for both of you?
Look, there might be some slight subtlety changes, but I mean, I think we've really gone about it, from the start of pre-season about how we want to play. So look, we're not really going to make dramatic changes this week. I think it'd be unfair on everyone really to try to do that. I think both teams have got here for a reason. So I think we'll be just trying to execute our style as best we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing that will change, it won't be as windy as it was on Saturday at Vizzy Park, so that's one benefit for probably both sides. But exactly the same as Dale said, we've practiced the way we want to play. We've made some adjustments as we've gone, especially over probably the last 6 weeks. Situational wise in games where our guys have learned to do things a little bit differently. But we won't be making any drastic changes this week, trying to teach them anything brand new. It's just exactly what gets you here and what's got us through the last 6 weeks. And got us to this position will be what we're going with, and hopefully it stacks up.
Just to both coaches, I guess how hard is it to get to this point, given the strong development focus of the TAC Cup?
I think our philosophy's been it's really about with these kids that come into your program, it's basically teaching the fundamentals of the game, and that's been our focus all the way through, and in my 3 years in charge. So. And you just continue to develop that aspect of their game, and this is where they're at. And they've got a long way to go, and there's going to be guys that come out of this program and going to get drafted, but they've still got a long way to go with their footy. And I think we address the fundamentals really strongly, and our group have been terrific in embracing that side of it and understanding they've still got a lot of development to go. And I think the way they've embraced that part of our coaching philosophy has allowed them to get to this point. So I think that's a reward for their attitude to embrace that side of the game. So I think as I said before, it's a real reward now for that sort of attitude. So which is great.
Yeah, and I think certainly our group, something we focused on, the players focused on heavily, and we're lucky enough we've got Lenny Hayes, who's a bit of a mentor to our group, and one of the things he said to our guys quite a few weeks ago, the team success then breeds individual success. And it can be hard for some guys, especially the guys who come back from Metro, and maybe you've got AFL player managers and whatever sniffing around to get a bit focused on what's happening for them and what might be the reward for them in a couple of months. But certainly to the credit of our group, and they've been able to focus on the team aspect. And the important part, part of the development, actually playing in these finals it's given our guys 3-4 weeks more opportunity, especially those guys who are sort of borderline, of possibly getting to the next level. It's given them that extra exposure to promote themselves and the way they play, and give themselves more of an opportunity to get to that next level. So we really focused on that rather than getting to this weekend and winning the premiership. It was more about an extra week, an extra 2 weeks, an extra 3 weeks for those guys to promote themselves, and the reward for that has been that we're obviously in this position now.
I think just on that too, I think part of development, I know it's a strong focus from our perspective, is that part of their development is understanding team, and that's a really strong thing for us. And I think both groups have got a strong team development focus. So I think that's really important, because they're going to need that if they're going to extend themselves at the next level. It's just such a team orientated game these days. So it's a really strong focus for us.
Yes, so Dom, it seems that you've sort of hit your straps over the past few weeks since you've come back. And you've also with that's come a bit of media attention. How have you dealt with that, and how do you feel your footy's going right now?
Obviously I missed a few weeks with the shoulder injury just prior to the finals, but it sort of gave me an opportunity to freshen up and just get the body in a really good shape for the finals. In terms of the media stuff, look, you try not to focus on it too much. It's just sort of playing footy, and if that sort of the media comes with it, then you just sort of take it as it comes. But in terms of all that, it's just you got to add another string to your bow and just get used to it, I think. But
have you signed with the manager yet, mate?
I have, yeah.
Who have you hooked up with?
With ESP.
Oh. Yeah. And to Dale, I mean, obviously the club hasn't played in a whole lot of finals and grand finals over the years. Do you think playing the grand final this week gives a lot of your players a much better chance to get drafted? I mean, obviously everyone's watching. Do you expect a few more players to get picked up playing so deep into the year?
I think if you can play well in a grand final, it certainly enhances your chances. But I was sort of thinking about it during the week. I think a lot of recruiters and a lot of judges out there would have made assessments on a lot of guys already. And look, it does give them another opportunity to play well, and that's what it is. It's another game of footy, and that's got to be the focus. It's a big game, but if a few of our boys can play well, we certainly just ticks another box for them. But I'd say a lot of judgments would have been made on players already to this point.
Is there a lot of excitement though, obviously because you both haven't been in the grand final for a long time, so it must be exciting for the two groups to be involved in the last day of the year?
Yeah, I think for my first year coaching the Chargers, but I've been involved for a few years, and obviously both regions have similar issues. We have a lot of private school boys who disappear for a large part of the year with those commitments, and Sandringham are exactly the same. So I suppose there's a little bit of obviously opponents on the weekend. There's probably a little bit of camaraderie, I suppose, between the two regions because we go through the same sort of issues and we have the same sort of problems. And Sandringham, obviously didn't have too many issues making finals. They got off to a flyer early in the year and won a lot of games. So that middle part of the year wasn't so critical, and we probably a bit lucky towards the end to scrape in. But so then, from that point of view, the two regions have a lot of similarities, and that's why probably both regions have only ever played in one grand final. So maybe slightly coincidental that we're both here at the same time.
Dale, is the school football issue a problem that needs a solution, or are the clubs happy to work around it?
I don't think we work around. I think we've got to work together on it, because the most important, or from our perspective, the most important person involved in all this is the player. So I think it's just having that management focus. The communication, I know, between us and the private schools is really strong. And just building those relationships, because a lot of these boys, in Dom's case, he's probably had 4 coaches this year. At state level, those sort of things, metro level, club coach, school coach. So there's a lot of voices, a lot of managers. So the communication lines have got to be very clear, because the players are the most important aspect in this. So I think the communication, the relationship build's the most important thing. I think from our perspective, it's getting a lot better, but it's never handled. You just got to keep addressing it.
Is it frustrating?
Can be.
Greg, obviously Dom's sort of been highly spoken of in terms of coming up to the draft and all the rest of it, and played well in the champs. How have you seen his season, and I guess how Dom has handled some of the things that have come his way?
Oh, look, he's an outstanding individual, and it's probably no secret that even as a private school boy, traditionally aren't made captain of the Chargers because they're not allowed around for large portions of the year, that Dom was a standout, certainly to the coaching staff, but also to the playing group, who had a fair say in who their leaders were. So to be voted or anointed our captain as a private school boy, I think speaks volumes for him as an individual. And then what he does on the field, he doesn't rant and rave. He's very well spoken, but just his leadership off the ground, the way he trains, the way he gets around to all our playing group. There's no hierarchies as far as the playing group or split sections from him right down to 59 players who have pulled on this jumper this year, bottom ages, private school, government school, guys going to uni. They all have enormous respect for Dom, and obviously his football ability has improved enormously as well. He certainly had some deficiencies early in the year that he knew how to work on, and to his credit, he certainly has improved in those 2 areas. His kicking's become, which was not bad, but it's certainly an area he was told he needed to improve on. He's improved in that area, and his ability to spread. He was an excellent inside midfielder, but the question was whether he could get the ball a bit more on the outside, and he certainly added that string to his bow as well, and sort of become that complete midfielder, I think, now.
Jack, just how have you found the demands of leadership throughout the year?
Yeah, it's been good responsibility. So just trying to set the right example and lead by the front really. So really enjoyed it. So yeah.
Greg, I think last week you brought in your premiership captain to speak to the boys before the prelim. Anything similar planned for this week?
Oh no, look, we just thought we hadn't really talked about 06 and and Dale maybe hadn't spoken about 99. But we just thought we got to, once we got to this pointy end, that it was probably relevant to bring up 2006. So Dean Kelly, a guy who never got drafted to AFL footy, he would these days because they've changed the type they draft. But we just brought him in and we showed the boys actually a little bit of vision of Dean in the 2006 preliminary final and the grand final, where he basically won the game off his own boot. So I think that it was probably just time to show the boys, you know, a little bit of the club's history and what it was about. But we certainly don't want to overdo it. But yeah, it was great experience for these guys to hear from someone who's been there and done it. And Dean sort of played the game pretty hard, which is, you know, certainly how our guys like to play the game. Certainly like the Dragons as well. So yeah, it's just a little bit of a little look back in history to give the boys a taste of what, you know, might be if they get their act together.
Dale, any plans to bring up 99 or?
Oh, look, a long time ago. Yeah, I look, not really. Look, I think we just want to try to keep it as normal as possible. Like we've had Luke Ball address the group a few weeks back, ex-Dragon play, which was great. But a few other people throughout the course of the year, just sort of leading up. So I think we'll just try to keep it as normal as possible. And even today's probably slightly different than the normal week. So yeah, look, we'll just concentrate on what we have to do.
I think Oakleigh's probably got half the big metros midfield running around. Is that key to shutting down the midfield?
I think look, we come from 16 points down on the weekend, and it was all based on centre clearance. So I think you've got to be able to get your hands on the footy to implement what you're trying to do in the first place. So yeah, that'll be a focus, and it's a collective effort through the midfield. Like, they've got some terrific players, and I think we've just got some really honest workers through there. So we just got to work hard as a whole group. So that's our focus.
Is there anyone from your side that's really stepped up in the finals, which you think can really bolstered into contention, or
anyone from
Sandy that's just jumped up during the finals?
I think Jackson Coleman's really starting to grasp what it's all about. Like a late developer, sort of come in on the back of no pre-season. I thought he's kicked goals. He's had I think a bag of 6 and 8 this year, but he kicked one on the weekend. I thought it was his best game. So slightly different role, but I thought he's attacking the footy and just the things that he's going to need to keep improving. I think he's starting to grasp that side of it. So he's won. I thought Ben Daru last week, his effort was outstanding in areas that he has to improve on. He got isolated a bit, and I thought he addressed that really well, and we needed him to, and he did it. So I think that's a big plus for him.
Just on Coleman, you played him all over the ground this year. Where do you think he'd be best suited at AFL level?
Well, he's very mobile and good hands. He covers the ground really well. So key forward, and you can push up the ground. So he's certainly got the athleticism to cope with the modern game. Yeah.
Well, he's got to decide between cricket and footy, hasn't he, Dale? Ben Coleman's son. Cricket was his go for a while. Has he decided on cricket or footy?
I think he's leaned towards footy, I think.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Dom, what's your dad's name?
Bill Tyson.
I know Bill well. Great Carlton cricketer, is that right?
He tells me that.
Yeah. He's a top man. He'd be my best. I wrote about him many times. Yeah, Billy Tyson, good opening batsman, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Dean Kelly went down to Port, didn't he, Gary? For a while, Dean Kelly?
He did.
He played with Reds? Yeah.
Any final questions? Just finally, what does the rest of the week leading up to the grand final entail for both sides?
I'm going back to work. Just normal week, just train Thursday and we'll have a light run Saturday, and we'll get into it on Sunday. So.
Yeah, exactly the same. Thursday, we've played quite a few Sunday games now the last few weeks, so we've got the boys together for a light run on the Saturday morning and then ready to go Sunday. So we're just trying to ask the boys. A few of them are already on school holidays, so we've tried to tell them to keep busy and not just sort of sit at home and play the game over in their mind too many times before the weekend. So hopefully they're able to do that and just be it's obviously not another game, but I think once the build-up's huge, but I think once the ball gets bounced, it will just be another game of footy.
Well, thank you very much for your attendance today. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank the coaches and captains of the TAC Cup team. Thanks, guys.